let's settle for the details. In our first story, pressure mounting on government to immediately release funds for beneficiaries of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP. Now, LEAP is one of Ghana's flagship social protection program that provides bi-monthly cash payments to extremely poor households in all districts of the country. Currently, 300,000 households benefit from the cash grants per the 2022 budget statement. But an impact analysis by civil society organizations consisting of Social Accountability Forum, Civil Society Platform for Social Protection, and the Civil Society on SDG 10 has revealed there have been unexplained delays in release of funds to beneficiaries by the government. Mohammed Abdullah is the Communications Officer for SEND Ghana.
Somewhere 2019, up till now, we have noticed that the payments have been delaying. There are times that it delays for like more than 2 months. And already they are supposed to be receiving this support every 2 months, that is bi-monthly. And so it means that when a particular payment cycle delays, it means that the beneficiaries end up getting their support in like 4 months. And what is the amount involved? We are talking about just a 64 Ghana cedi for a beneficiary, a household that has just one beneficiary, a household. So we are saying that we are now agree that in the face of this economic hardship, somebody who relies on only 64 Ghana cedis every 2 months has not received such amount for like 4 months. You can reason with us. How is the person faring? What are they feeding on? How are they able to meet their education and the health needs of the occupants of their household? So those are the kind of things that we think that these are people, they don't have the voice. If they had the voice, I'm sure you and I wouldn't have been here, because they would remind government to fulfill its obligation towards them. Today, you are aware that university teachers are on strike. Transport unions, student bodies, all going on strike because they have the voice to speak. Vulnerable groups that I talked about, none of them has the voice. So it is you and I who can actually remind the government of its obligation towards these poor people, so that at least pay them. If there are practical challenges why you are not releasing funding for their payment, it is okay to communicate to the people. Just let them understand this is the current situation. We all know we are not in normal times, but we need to strive to still do things in a normal way. So for the last payment cycle, which is the 75th, it was supposed to have been done in November last year. That had not been transferred. Now we are talking about the 76th cycle that was also due in January. It has not been paid. The 77th cycle will also come, will be due somewhere in April or March, April. Yet, government has not paid those two areas for the beneficiaries. Like I'm asking, how are we expecting them to fare in the face of this COVID? So two payment tranches, two cycles, which is a 75th and 76th. Are you talking about the amount involved? No, we are not. We are not in the position to, like my colleague said, it is the government that transfers the amount, but we can do the individual kind of beneficiary package. For example, if it is just one person, the person receives like 64 cedis every 2 months. If it is two, I think it's 77 Ghana cedis. 3 is 88, and then 3 or more, like 4 or more, is 106 Ghana cedis. That is for every 2 months. Of course, we have over 34,000. I think. No, I'm coming. We have about 344,000 households. So when we're talking about household, you can have a household that has more than one beneficiary. So the 334,000 households actually translate into about over 1.5 million individual beneficiaries.
The minority in Parliament has cast doubt over the President's comments that the Komenda sugar factory will be operationalized in April. According to the NDC MPs, the government has not made provision for the raw materials, arguing it will be impossible to start operations in April. President Akufo-Addo, addressing delegates from the Komenda Traditional Authority, observed that the production of sugar will kickstart in April after the completion of some civil works undertaken by an Indian company.
I've been following that project very, very keenly. And I don't know the person who is advising the president. When we met the Minister of Trade and Industry, during the 2022 budget discussion, I put to him the status of the Komenda sugar factory in relation to the strategic investor that they said they were going to use. And he told me that strategic investor had taken out. And so I asked him again whether or not they had gone to take 30 million Ghana cedi to go and refurbish the project. And he admitted. Clearly, that is what they are using to do some painting and to reconfigure some of the equipment at the Komenda sugar factory. I was surprised hearing the president saying that by April this year, they would have started operations. The basic question I want to ask is this. Start operations with what? When we are told, or we're told, there is no raw material. But we got to, when we handed over to them, we had finished with the machinery, the installation and everything. Right. It was just left with continuing the processing. But we're told that there was no raw material, and so they couldn't process. Today, they should tell us where the raw material is. The raw material that the president is saying they will use in April to process, where is it? For 5 years down the line, nothing had happened when it comes to raw material. When it comes to sugarcane, let me tell you, you plant sugarcane and it takes about 9 months, okay, to be ready for harvesting and for processing. They should tell us where they have cultivated it. Let me also tell you that NDC had wanted to use the outgrower scheme. So we're going to harvest the sugarcane from the outgrowers whilst we're doing our own plantation. And that's what we call backward integration. That was the approach that the NDC, and for that matter, John Dramani Mahama had wanted to do. Don't also forget that we had gotten about $24.5 million approved in this parliament, which was supposed to be drawn down in 2017. And that would have been used to supplement or support the outgrowers and also establish the plantation that we were talking about.
As part of efforts to transition to the use of environmentally friendly energy, government is committed to exploring the use of natural gas and nuclear energy. Now, that's according to Deputy Energy Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, who says this move, coupled with other initiatives, would contribute to attaining a net zero future, ensure job security and rapid development. He was speaking at the second National Energy Transition Plan Forum in the Volta Regional Capital of Ho.
Ghana is to abandon the use of fossil fuels, which present development opportunities but harmful to the environment, and adopt the use of energy sources that emit low carbon due to the Paris Agreement on climate change. This informed a decision by the government to constitute the Energy Transition Committee to spearhead the formulation of a framework to guide the country's transition process. The Deputy Energy Minister, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, who is the chairman of the committee, explained that Ghana commits to achieving a net zero future.
And so we as a government have decided that natural gas will continue to be a major part of our energy mix. Natural gas-fired power, natural gas supported industry for heating purposes, etc., will be a major part of our energy economy. We even want to adopt other sources which are clean. For example, nuclear energy. Ghana has been making efforts at developing nuclear power. So we think that nuclear is one of the cleanest. Most of the world, Germany, United States of America, Britain, they have relied on nuclear to fire their economy. Then they turn around and say that nuclear is bad. Developing countries shouldn't do it. We want to do it. Even as I speak to you, coal, the UK government has just approved a coal mine project in Cumbria. So you see the hypocrisy in the global politics of energy. And so for Ghana, we think that we do not want to live on an island. We are part of the world. And so let's respond to what the world is asking us to do. But at the same time, let's take into consideration our peculiar circumstances so that we strike the balance that will ensure that we are not outside the globe, but at the same time, we are pursuing steps that will accelerate the development of our country.
The Deputy Director, Nuclear and Alternative Energy at the Energy Ministry, Dr. Robert Sogbadi, outlined objectives set out by the committee.
Some of the objectives that we have set is to make sure that we move gradually to e-mobility, that is using electric vehicles. Also increasing our renewable energy penetration to make sure that we have a lot of renewable energy diluting our energy mix. Also making sure that we improve our energy efficiency and conservation. Now, the next thing also to make sure that we move from liquid fuels to gas. So we are going to use natural gas as a transition fuel. Natural gas in combined cycle, also used as a transition fuel. We are also going to build a nuclear plant in the medium term because nuclear plant is zero emission. Also increase the drive for afforestation. So we are going to plant more trees and make sure that they are going to be a net sink in carbon emission. So once we emit, the trees will absorb.
However, the committee is not limiting its works to the objectives, but is embarking on a nationwide consultative exercise to seek inputs into the National Energy Transition Plan from stakeholders. Speaking at the Stakeholders Forum in Ho, the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Yao-Lecha, underscored the significance of the engagement.
And I'm aware that as a nation, we are also taking the necessary steps and have adopted the use of some energy sources which are considered climate friendly. An example is the use of solar energy in our national energy sources mix. I'm also aware that government is committed to ensuring we are not taking aback or lag behind in the rapid transition that is occurring in the energy sector of the world. In this regard, our efforts at any transition in the energy sector must be national in nature, where the views and inputs of citizens who would be affected by the transition are taken and considered as well as factored into any plan that government shall formulate.
The president of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs, Togbe Teprehodo IV, advised authorities to hasten slowly with the transition.
The president said, we must all be fair in the way we handle this matter of a transition. If we stop our oil production now, what's going to happen to us? Considering maybe the investments that we would have made. They have made their profits already. I don't think we should rush into things. Let's take our time, do these things properly, so we achieve a fair and equitable result.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Ho.
Meanwhile, renewable energy experts are cautioning African governments against rushing into energy transitions without having the needed structures in place. Chair of the GNPC Petroleum Commerce, Professor Emeritus Omowunmi, believes thinking through affordability and sustainability would do Africa a lot of good in the global energy dynamics. The GNPC Petroleum Commerce Chair has been speaking at the 7th Public Lecture Series and Awards of the Institute of Oil and Gas at the University of Cape Coast. Richard Kojanyako has more.
The 7th Public Lecture Series and Awards was on the strategic thinking and transformation options on the dawn of global energy systems transformation. Chair of the GNPC Petroleum Commerce, Professor Emeritus Omuwumi Iledari, cautioned African leaders to tread cautiously in their bid to get enmeshed in energy transitions and the global energy dynamics.
You cannot allow political expediency in this debate to develop a strategy for the sake of the future. You must get your brilliant mind that are more posterior in thinking than prosperity of today. What are the things we need to watch out for? One, affordability and sustainability. Cheaper power to maintain affordability is key. You see, if you don't have an experience, majority of the people advocating energy transition, they have never been to Africa to understand what we go through. So we must devise solutions to our problems. Don't rush into energy transition without having structure. You don't. You don't. Otherwise, we'll continue to adjust ourselves.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Johnson Yakobo commended GMPC for the role it is playing in the research areas in the country.
Permit me to use this opportunity to thank the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation for the establishment of the Center of Excellence in Petroleum Commerce here in the University of Cape Coast. The vision of the Center of Excellence is to promote research, generate new knowledge, and build capacity in the petroleum and energy sector. This can be achieved through collaboration of public and private institutions in Ghana and overseas to ensure effective operations and management of Ghana's oil and gas sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to commend GMPC for collaborating with the University of Cape Coast for the construction of a building complex worth $5 million.
Dean of the Institute of Oil and Gas Studies at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Simon Mariwa, outlined the areas the university is focusing as far as petroleum and energy studies are concerned. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyakon, Cape Coast.
You're still watching Joy News today. Now, all pubs and restaurants at Osu will be shut down tonight. This is part of a 3-day ban on noise-making to allow for the burial and final rites for the late paramount chief of the area, Ni Okwe Kinka Dowona VI. Osu, which is largely referred to as the heart of Accra's nightlife, is home to several popular pubs and restaurants which operate deep into the night. But they have to suspend operations at least for the duration of the ban. Here's Public Relations Officer for the Osu store, Ni Adote McLean. But before we hear from him, let's bring in our colleague Manuel Kranting, who has been at Osu all morning. Manuel, what can you report?
So it's a really somber and reflective mood here at Osu. I've been to the Chief Palace there, Osu Manchewi, and essentially the funeral final burial rites for the late Ni Okwe Dowona the 5th is underway. What we're told, pubs and CCs in the area which operate with loud music are supposed to turn off their music tonight, essentially supposed to shut down and not disturb within the area. Indeed, this is being likened to the popular rides that are actually carried out during the Homowo Festival. We're told that there's a task force that has been commissioned by the Osu School to go around tonight and tomorrow also to ensure that all these popular pubs and ECs actually do comply with the directive that has been issued by the school. I've been trying to run some checks within the community and some of these issues. Now, for most of the popular ones that I've visited, a lot of them did not even know about such a directive, and they were, preparing in earnest for what they expected to be a booming evening of service. Very disappointed, as this news will mean that they would have to, shelve their food that they are preparing and so on and so forth. And so that's been the general mood here at Osu. Even though they said it's going to be a big blow to their businesses, the operators, they have no choice but to comply and respect the dictates of the Sulan.
All right, so what are some of the vendors saying? I mean, the ones that didn't know about it said, unfortunately, they have to suspend their business activities. But what about the ones that know?
Indeed, it's been hard finding any person or even like any vendor who actually knew about this directive on a ban on noise making related to the burial and funeral rites of the late paramount chief of Osu Traditional. Even as they do not know, what my assessment is being is, a reluctant compliance, or like an intention to comply by the directive. So even though it's going to help their businesses, they say that they have no choice because since the authorities in the land, and mind you, this particular directive, we are told, is backed by the municipal assembly, and so it has also government authorization behind it, and so it's very difficult for anybody to actually flout the ban and go unpunished. And so, given this context, we are told by a lot of the vendors that they are willing to, though reluctantly, they are willing to comply.
Apart from the vendors, have you been speaking to anyone else? Maybe people who like to go to Osu?
So generally, people come to Osu, to have fun, especially on Friday night, as it is, for instance, for today. But most of them indeed say that they are disappointed, and this is going to be a really a bad party trip, as it will be for their plans for the night. But as intimated earlier, there's a general, tilting towards respecting and complying with the rule, except it waits to be seen what will happen when indeed the time comes, the funeral rites are underway, and we'll see whether or not people will indeed comply. Mark.
All right, thank you very much. That's my colleague Manuel Konting, and he's at Osu, and he's been giving us an update on that ban on noise making. Let's do other stories now. Psychiatric facilities across the country are struggling to procure patient medications. Now, this is because the Mental Health Authority receives an average of just 30% of its annual budget from government, forcing it to introduce a pay-as-you-go model of operation. The authority believes the provision of a dedicated source of revenue will help reduce the burden on the psychiatric facilities and persons who require mental health care services. We'll hear from CEO of the Mental Health Authority shortly. First, though, some excerpts of our latest hotline documentary highlighting quality rights in mental health care. Mind Matters.
Behind the rising mental health cases in the region is a sheer insufficiency of staff within the various health facilities to attend to patients who are brought in. This reality gravely affects the quality of health care given to the patients. Sylvester Basinia admits the seriousness of the challenge but says, though insufficient, efforts are underway to improve the number of mental health practitioners in the region.
Mental health practice is one thing that if people are not motivated enough to step into the field, it will be difficult for you to go handpicking people or encouraging people to actually go into the field. And so, but thankfully, people are turning out. We have Kintampo College of Health, where practicing officers like community health nurses, field technicians, and other cadre of health staff go to advance in that regard. So as we speak, we have some of our staff here who are actually running those programs there. And I'm sure after that, they'll come back for postings. So gradually, the numbers are actually increasing. And so we don't have absolute control over the staffing, but once people are showing interest, I know gradually we'll be able to cover almost all the sub-districts with mental health staff representation. But I must admit that the key challenge that we are actually facing has to do with our medication. There are moments we get some support from the central medical stores, but that is short-lived. Maybe within the year, we actually run short of these drugs, and we cannot actually guarantee a reliable source of these medicines. Basic Needs and NGO into mental health used to also support us in that regard. But on the advent of COVID, we've not had such supports from Basic Needs anymore. And so we are now relying on central medical stores for support in that regard.
Now, residents of Mango in the Yonyon Nasuani district engaged in the construction of a small earth dam under the Ghana Productive Safety Net project is threatening to lay down their tools over unpaid arrears. The workers, who are mostly women and teenage girls, say they haven't been paid their daily allowances for 4 months. They also complained about poor working environments and inadequate tools. There's more in this report.
Agnes Bonbon is a 30-year-old resident of Mongo, a village in the remote Yonyon Nasuani district of the Northeast region. She's unemployed and a mother of 2 and has been working as a laborer in the construction of this small earth dam since it began in 2019. The young mother was more than excited when she first joined this labor-intensive public work, as she tells me she used the earnings to support her poor husband. Today, Agnes, like many of the workers here, are grieved over their unpaid allowance and are planning to abandon the project. She says the situation adversely affects the living conditions of her family.
What she
said is, when they started the work, it was really moving. But it got to a point, the payment is not well. At first, they said they'll be paying them monthly, but they have worked over 4 years now, and they have not received the pay. And due to that, many of the workers doesn't like coming, because when they come, they'll come and dirty their clothes. But what to use and buy soap and wash is a problem. They don't have it. And they used to give them medicine. Now they don't give them the medicine. They will come and work and become tired. They will go back. They are tired. They are stressful. They can't do anything. And the next day they can't get up and come. They are sick. And that one too is a challenge. And at first they used to have cups, drinking cups. Now they don't have it. When they come, they are blocking leaves to fetch water and drink.
Dubik Mavis is an 18-year-old student of the Nakpanduri Senior High School. She comes home every weekend to labor here with her mother for a daily allowance of 12 Ghana cedis. She says they have not been paid these allowance for almost 5 months now.
Our challenges is about the payments. It's getting to 4 months. They have not yet paid us. So because of that, many of them are not coming to the work. If we can, we not reach to 50 or 70 going. By the time we started, we were about 100 going. But now, because of the payment, they are not coming. And now to the medicine, they are not giving us again. By the first time we started, every day they were been bringing the medicine. If your body are paining you, you can take some. Or if you went home and you come to work tomorrow, you can collect some and take before you start your work. But now they are not giving us. So that one is a problem for us.
The workers, who are mostly women and teenagers, said many have already abandoned the project, and they too are planning to do the same unless the allowance are paid soon.
Now, they are tired, they are sick, they don't have money to buy sandals, they don't have money to buy soaps and food, so it's a challenge for them.
If you are doing work and you are not getting something, how will we continue to work? So because of that, some have started stopping coming to the work, so I think so.
The construction of the small earth dam here at Mongo under the labor-intensive public works component is being implemented through the Ghana Productive Safety Net project with funding from the World Bank, which aims to support the government to strengthen safety net systems that improve the productivity of the poor. The dam, when completed, is expected to help the community members engage in all year-round farming to improve their living conditions, the project, which started with over 200 community members, now has less than 20 workers. It was expected to be completed by 2021, but a visit to the site shows it is still far from completion. The Member of Parliament of the area, Oscar Lewa, who paid a working visit to the project site, responded to the concerns.
The complaints they are raising now, I will make a follow-up. I will contact the contractor to make sure that they pay them regularly to be able to finish the work within the stipulated time. One cannot abandon his household chores only to be frustrated by somebody. I will not sit aloof for them to fall sick. I will not sit aloof for them to be cheated. I will do what it takes to get their concerns addressed.
Abdul Latif, a local supervisor of the project, also assured the workers that the arrears will be cleared soon.
Because I've worked with this Ghana Safety Net for a long time, since 2015 up to now. So I know them. The payment will delay, but no matter how the situation, the payment will come. I'm sure in them.
Reporting for Joy News, Ilyasu Tanko, Mongo, Junyo District.
You're still watching Joy News Today with me, Mapisa Sibidi. Up next is business. And in business, Japan International Cooperation Agency (JICA) has indicated its commitment to improving accessibility to stable and affordable power in Africa by way of investment. JICA, for close to 60 years, has invested millions of dollars in some African countries, particularly in the West African sub-region, due to the economic importance of electricity. Chief Representative of JICA Ghana office, Araki Yasmichi, disclosed this at a 5-day training program held in collaboration with Electricity Company of Ghana in Tema. Correspondent Komenda has more.
For maintenance of power equipment and system protection and control is considered crucial after cancellation of start courses over outbreak of Ebola in 2015. The training forms part of a bigger plan by Japan International Cooperation Agency (JICA) in ensuring access to reliable power. The agency, through grants, implemented a $38 million project to improve power supply to Accra Central and $58 million for improvement of power distribution system, completed in 2018 and 2015 respectively. Chief Representative, JICA Ghana Office, Araki Yasumichi, shares investment made in other countries in the sub-region.
In Sierra Leone, $39.3 million project for urgent improvement of a power distribution system in Freetown, completed in 2017, was implemented through our grant rate scheme, while preparation study for extension of a power distribution system along the Freetown Peninsula, and the technical cooperation project for capacity development for advanced diesel generator maintenance are in the preparation stage to start this year. In Liberia, the $20 million granted project for rehabilitation of a Monrovia power system completed in 2016, and technical cooperation project for capacity development for diesel generator maintenance, which is currently ongoing.
Deputy Managing Director, Sales and Customer Service of ECG, Engineer Jones Ufrado, says the training course is part of Electrical Engineers Training for African Countries EETA project funded by JICA.
And this is aimed at improving the competencies and operational efficiencies. The project, which was dubbed Project Electrical Engineering Training for African Countries EETA, was initiated in 2013 in collaboration with the Electricity Company of Ghana's Training Center. This training course forms part of the EETA project and is mainly funded by JICA. We have so far jointly conducted similar training in the past and have received material and logistic support from JICA for the successful implementation of such projects.
The Ghana Export Promotion Authority is building the capacity of women in agribusiness and textiles in the Ashanti region to help increase their export and trade potentials. The 5-day training, supported by the Canadian Trade Facilitation Office, is also aimed at creating more job opportunities for women. There's more in this report.
The training program is part of GIPA's efforts to groom exporters for easy access to external markets and ultimately shore up exports. Deputy CEO in charge of Human Resource and Administration at GIPA, Albert Kasim Diwura, observed international trade comes with lots of demands, hence the training.
This is very important to us because the women in trade are doing very well in terms of numbers, that is the volumes, but then we've realized that intermittently they don't have time to do research because of their multi-task nature. They don't have time to do research, so we often organize programs like this. We also have our export school where sometimes twice or thrice in a year we organize for people to come and train. So in between that, we collaborate with either ITC or TFO to organize programs like this just to build their capacity to be able to take advantage of the export space.
SMEs have been urged to register under the Ghana Export Promotion Authority to access support to enter the international market.
One key problem we've identified is that some of them don't even know that they have to even register with Ghana Export Promotion Authority. I think that just like we sell in our Ghanaian market, they can produce the same way and take it into the international market. So some of them attempt and they have real challenges. But when they register with us, we will give them the requisite knowledge.
A representative from the Trade Facilitations Office, Canada, encouraged women to collaborate and take advantage of export markets. Andrew Mensah believes this will help businesses to meet demand.
That's it for business. Up next is sports.
Time now for sports on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. Contract manager for Legon facility, Yao Ofosu, says his team is working around the clock to ensure that the completion of the project is done within the time given to them. The Legon site is one of the venues for the continental event, which is the Africa Games 2023, and is expected to start in the next 18 months. Mr. Ofosu has assured Ghanaians of putting up the facilities by the end of this year. There's more in this report by my colleague, Haruna Mubarak.
The Legon Sports Stadium, an uncompleted facility which has been abandoned for over a decade after Ghana Education Trust Fund stopped financing the project. But as one of the sites earmarked for the impending Africa Games, it has become paramount for the facility to be completed. Consa Limited was the company in charge back in 2004. They've been given the task again to complete the work, and it is expected to look like this. Also, an athletics track and a rugby field are the other major projects assigned to the construction company for the continental event. Project manager Yao Ofosu has vowed to ensure the completion of these projects by the end of the year, with just 18 months left to the games.
Well, so far, what you can see here, we've done the running track, we've removed the existing surface, we're going to lay a new technologically advanced running track that will meet the requirements of the African Games. We've also started with the construction of the VIP building that would have a presidential viewing area, VIP area, disabled facilities, change rooms, and so on and so forth. On the other side, we're doing a retaining wall that separates the main stadium from the car park area. On the far side, we have the warm-up track where the athletes would practice before they come to the main stadium for the actual competition. On the other side of the project, we have a rugby field that we are also constructing. So these are the three main components of the scope of works that CONSA is undertaking. We have the main stadium, we have the warm-up track, and we have the rugby field.
Are signs clear that you would meet the deadline?
Definitely, we are on track, and we are quite confident that we will meet the scheduled completion date.
The Games Village will also be put up at Legon, but with a different contractor. Its establishment is in the hands of Maum's company. Should everything go as planned, Ghana will host the rest of Africa for the first time, with over $200 million set to be spent before, during, and after